I found perhaps my favorite bow ever, but it hasn't come without quirks, and it hasn't been all sunshine and roses. I found a couple things that are flat out annoying, and I want to tell you all about it. Firstly, look at this. Custom. So I can set my bow down. Okay, I guess we should dive right into it. First, I must ask you a couple questions. This bow has quickly climbed the list into maybe the best hunting bow I've ever shot. And I say that, one, because I thought it felt good, but two, because I shot a Vegas round the other day and I shot my best hunting bow Vegas round score. I shot a 289 12X, and I don't even know what my previous hunting bow best was, maybe mid 280s, low 280s, something like that. So I kind of just blew through that. I had a sneaking suspicion I was shooting it well, but you never really know until you put it to a test where you can stack apples to apples. And yeah, I freaking dropped 3 points in the first round, and then I cruised to a 289 12X, and it just felt great. Arrow was breaking behind the pin the whole time. Yeah, let's talk about it. So should we dive right into what I don't like? Should we do that? No, stick around. We're gonna get to that shortly. Okay, what I do like about this bow, and this is after shooting a couple hundred arrows. Here's the stats. 400 grain arrow, 28.5-inch draw length, 71 pound draw weight, 16.3 pound holding weight, shooting an arrow just a smidge under 300 feet per second at 295 feet per second. So I broke it in pretty good, but you know, I need to get through the end of the season to really give you a true long-term durability test kind of thing. The grip is beautiful. It's an awesome kind of no fuss grip straight in front of you. Easy to be repeatable, straight off the riser. Good job, Elite. There's some kind of secret sauce going on here, which I can't really, it would take someone much smarter than me, some type of engineering super nerd. But basically the trade-off is typically when you have brace height, you lose speed. This bow has 6 3/4 inch brace height and really good speed. And usually one of the other trade-offs you get is you trade off speed for feel. So typically the slower the bow, the better it feels. The faster the bow, the worse it feels as far as draw cycle. It feels harsh, feels kind of nasty, kind of tough, but this is smooth and fast. Good job to the nerds behind the scenes designing it. It's smooth, it's fast, it has brace height. Usually all of those things don't get lumped into the same paragraph. So I should just give you the tour real quick. I'll give you the top to bottom. 70 pound draw weight, 28.5-inch draw length, podium bars, 15 on the front with 4 ounces, 10 on the back with 8 ounces. These little Hoyt Go sticks Jimmy rigged onto the front of this behind the Elite, whatever you call that thing, behind the Elite doodad. You can sneak them in there, and then basically you can set your bow down, which is really nice if you're setting it down at the range or on the mountain or whatever. It's really great. It's not a perfect solution because this cam will still rest on the ground unless it's tilted at the right angle. It's better than not having it for sure. It's nice to be able to set it down, and I'm just careful about the cam. Ultraview slider with their small housing on the front. I like this sight. It's simple, it's clean. I think there's a couple things I would honestly like to see from it, and maybe I'll talk about that in a future video. But definitely some type of vertical micro adjust would be nice. You can slide the pins, you can slide the tape, but like a true target sight, how you can vertically click side to side. It's got the horizontal clicks that go side to side. Hamskea Raptor peep. I do like these peeps, but when they do get a little bit sideways, it does seem like it changes your left and rights. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but a little bit of peep twist seems like it changed my lefts and rights. Maybe that's just me, I'm not sure. The podium 10-degree down angle on the front. I've typically ran a down angle, and it does kind of change your float pattern a little bit. Something worth considering if you haven't. That's the tour. I want to send a couple arrows. I'm getting ready for Total Archery Challenge coming up this weekend. Big Sky. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be some great content that comes out of it. So be subscribed for that. We're going to send a few from deep. of the dangers of shooting too close is busting up your nocks. I still got to back it up from here. It's too close for me. One interesting thing, if you've never experienced it, is I'm going to Total Archery Challenge Big Sky this weekend, and it's going to be at 10,000 feet, and it's going to change my sight tape. So if you're ever going from one extreme elevation to the next, just be wary of that. Conditions can change your sight tape, especially elevation, humidity. I kind of learned that from golf, and I've definitely seen it happen. Here we go. I can't shoot with shades on. I'm not that cool. I'm just not that cool. Wish I could. Wish I were cooler. I'm not. Josh and I have talked a lot about on the podcast recently, like bow buying criteria. What should you look for in a bow? It's really based on the person and the utility of the bow, what they're looking for, and the features that are important to you. Might be important to someone hunting 20 yards from a tree stand, might be different from somebody who might shoot 50 or 60 yards out west. For this bow, what I wanted was something I could shoot really well in a 3D archery type format. Went with something longer axle to axle. I set it up that way. I set it up with a small peep, small scope. I could totally convert this to a hunting bow if I am going to hunt with it, but that might depend on what I'm hunting for and if I need to make longer shots or if I'm hunting whitetails in a tree stand. So I guess all that to be said is if you're looking at a bow, figure out what's important to you and then figure out what bow might be interesting for you and your application. I got to talk about what went wrong with this bow because it's pestering me a little bit and we got to get right into it. So firstly, what I want you to see here is see this draw stop. This is the draw stop, and this is where you micro tune your draw length as well as adjust what your holding weight would be. So this is what a draw stop should look like, okay? And I set this bow up myself for the most part with just a little bit of supervision. Let's look at this one now. Can you see the silver ring here? Well, this is where my draw stop slid to. Unbeknownst to me, my draw stop had moved and I was catching some weird flyers. I asked Josh if maybe my timing was off, and that's when we first checked my timing, and then we saw the strip marks here where this had moved. I set this bow up, so I will take the responsibility of making sure it's set up right. That's on me. When I first saw this, I thought, oh, I didn't do a good job. I didn't tighten it down all the way. And then I posted about it on the internet, just in an Instagram reel. And I got a bunch of feedback from people who had experienced something similar. A few of them suggested Loctite, a few of them suggested actually changing out the hardware. But what I wanted you to know is, if this is a bow you have, just be aware of that because you don't want your draw stop to move. It was very frustrating. Very frustrating. Draw stop's gonna change your timing because your string should be bumping into those stops. And it also changes your holding weight. And your holding weight is one of those things that you'll hear a lot from the target archery community. What holding weight do you hold best at? There's some magic amount where you'll probably hold your best. And I feel like I was very close to that. Anyway, all that to be said is, however you set your bow up, just be wary of that. Loctite sounds like a good solution. Someone said they swapped out Matthews screws and that solved the problem for them. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. I will report back. I wouldn't not buy the bow because of that, but if you did buy the bow, I would be aware of that and get it right from the start. I didn't mention yet this little set technology, which allows you to micro tune your cams or your limbs. You're actually moving the limb side to side. And I was able to move my tear about a half an inch with the limbs, which was pretty cool. You still might have to shim your cams one side when you're in the setup process, but if you're close, being able to move those side to side is a really good way to do it. And potentially you could even use that for broadhead tuning too. I gotta think about that. That's a good question for the professor. Of all the bows I've shot the last couple years, I really do think this has the best combination of speed to feel. Like, watch me draw this back. There's nothing weird or crazy going on. Like, there's no big hump, there's no rollover. It's just pretty smooth back. Yeah, a few people are like, try the smooth mods because smooth mods are an option, but I don't really want to change the feel of the bow. I didn't change the strings, and I do think strings are like a good upgrade if you want to upgrade typically almost any bow, because custom strings are going to have just a tighter tolerance and they're going to hold better over the course of time. But I've kind of been on this mission to shoot stock strings and see if I could really shoot them out or how well they shoot. Plus, if they wear out, stuff like that. Like, I just want to shoot the bow how it comes and see what I can do with it. That shot felt real good. Shot felt good too. I have been shooting this true ball goat for a little while, and I don't think I would hunt with it because there's a lot of moving parts, but it's a really nice release. So you can make it a button or a hinge. It's weird that way. It's got a ton of adjustability, but it has a ton of screws. And that scares me a little bit for hunting. It's so crazy, but just having that fourth finger on there too really helps me out. I would actually catch myself at full draw thinking about what is my pinky doing. Yeah, that's probably just a weird me thing, but having a fourth finger on there just allows me to rest my pinky and shoot. Felt so good. I've gotten to put a couple hundred arrows through the bow, and I just wanted to get you some thoughts, just some honest feedback. I'm really excited about it. Out of all the hunting bow platforms, it feels like this is the best one I've shot. And that round of Vegas the other day just gave me a ton of confidence that, you know, it's not just witch magic, it is shooting really well. This first arrow hit to the right. I was shooting some arrows to the right the other day, so I pulled a couple clicks. So if I remove these, if I remove that one, that's a very honest group from 70 for me. 4 good shots, 5 pretty good shots, 2 a little side to side. Yeah, that's pretty good for me. I'm shooting my bow a little more and getting packed up to get out of town. Headed to Big Sky, aka the Windy City, aka the city that never sleeps, aka the Emerald City, aka the Big Apple, Big Sky, Montana, the Sunshine State. I'm excited to get there. It's always cool to meet people face to face. There's maybe nothing more scenic than shooting arrows off that mountain, and there's gonna be some sweet content that comes out of that. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It helps more than you know. I'm racing as fast as I can to get to 100,000 subscribers. And I'm gonna sign off today. I appreciate you guys. I will catch you back for the next one. Laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind, rolling down the street. Test them all. See which bow shoots best for you. See which features are important to you. All that stuff matters, and go shoot your bow. Go shoot your bow. Get ready for season. It's gonna be here before you know it. It's a fact.